on, everyone? So Austin Reaves had this just beautiful emergence for the Lakers that led into the playoffs and now has led into Team USA, and he has really continued this surge. One of the big things that has been a real talking point and narrative surrounding Austin Reaves from both his side and, of course, the Lakers side is him having a bigger role as well as him handling the ball more and playing more point guard. And one of the things I've really hit on is that this kind of makes sense for the long term. Yes, right now in the short term, right this year, it gives him the ability to be that other playmaker, that other extension. Gabe Vincent is the backup point guard for paper purposes, but he's not a great playmaker, right? He's never really been a great playmaker. He is a prototypical point guard for somebody like LeBron James. Think of like a George Hill, a Mario Chalmers, Norris Cole, guys like that, where they can play off the ball. Yes, they can initiate the offense. Yes, they can bring the ball up. They can play the point guard, but they're not somebody that is out here trying to make a bunch of plays and being a guy that's constantly on the ball, right? I mean, even with Miami, he wasn't constantly on the ball. And so to have a guy like him, you can put the ball in Austin Reaves' hands, put the ball in LeBron's hands, in D'Lo's hands, and play Gabe Vincent alongside these guys and have him be the point guard for position's sake, but him playing more off the ball and kind of elevating his game as a shooter and a 3-and-D guard, right? That is something I really think is potential. But also for the long term, if Max Christie, who the Lakers are super high on, and actually plan on having him eventually step into that starting shooting guard role, then what do you do with Austin Reaves, right? You're not going to put him down to the bench. He's been so good for the Lakers. So if you can shift him and kind of evolve him into a more true point guard, well, then now you could have Reaves, Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, and Anthony Davis. That's your core. That's your five going forward. But this year, with the big role and with this hype and media exposure, right? Because look, Austin Reaves has earned and warranted the attention and hype, right? He has gotten all of this publicity. Is a lot of it because he's on the Lakers? Absolutely. But there's a lot of people that like to pretend like he's this scrub, like he's this bum that is getting all this notoriety. I mean, there's plenty of people that have been on the Lakers over the years that haven't gotten anywhere near this attention, right? Because they didn't live up to the hype. They didn't live up to what was needed, right? Like even guys like Luke Walton was very good for the Lakers for many years and didn't get this like undying hype because he was that role guy. He was that kind of just extension on the court. High IQ, made plays, worked well alongside Kobe, right? Was beloved in the organization and whatnot. But he wasn't this like crazy superstar, right? Because I've seen these type of narratives kind of be pushed in regards to Austin Reaves, right? He has earned that respect and continues to live up to the hype. He's on a team with basically a roster full of franchise guys for most of these organizations. And he's been one of the best and most consistent players. Has been super efficient. I mean, historically efficient. Last year, he had the best true shooting. And so again, it's not like he's this scrub that's getting this notoriety. Is some of that because of Austin Reaves being a Laker? Absolutely. Right? But both can be true. He could be getting some more extra exposure because he's a Laker, but still be warranted for that exposure, right? Now, if he was on like Detroit or something, would he be getting that level of exposure? Probably not to that degree, but there would be still some attention, right? Things that, Mikal Bridges and Anthony Edwards and some of these guys have said outside of media pressure that have just openly said about him to the media, right? Like those things probably still would have been said. Are there some media-driven things, where the media is asking questions specifically about Reaves or, like after the first exhibition game, right? Austin Reaves is the one that gets the national interview and stuff like that. Those type of things, yes, I am with you. That is a Laker-generated thing. But again, there's nothing wrong with that. He is the hype. He has lived up to the hype. But with that, And the reason I'm even talking about this and bringing this up is with that, there is added pressure, right? Because he is going to be expected to really step into this big role, right? And he's going to be handling the ball more. And there is going to be this pressure of, I need to get others involved, right? Because he wants to be the point guard. He's talked about it. He's expressed it. Played it in high school. He played it in college. So you're going to have all of this fan pressure. You're going to have all of this media pressure. You're going to have him kind of stepping into a bigger role, which I do fully believe he's capable of. I mean, he did it in the playoffs. He did it in the biggest stages, right? Like, he did it in the Western Conference Finals against the team that ultimately won the NBA championship. And Austin Reaves was arguably our best, most consistent player in that series, right? But he's going to be looked at to be a 18-5-5 guy or 25-5 guy. And I'm more than confident that he's going to be capable of doing that. But does he fall and need to fit in this role of, I need to be point guard? So instead of me getting 20 points, let me do 15 and get, 5 rebounds and like 8 to 10 assists, right? But the problem with that is that the media and some fans, I think, may hype that up as, oh, he only jumped up like 2 points, right? But in reality, aren't understanding that he is the engine of the car that is being driven, right? His responsibility is not scorer as much as it is playmaker. And does he have some transition period where he has to go from, because what we got to see in the playoffs was Austin Reaves just kind of getting to play freely and be himself. Yes, he was on the ball. Yes, he was making plays for others, but there wasn't that pressure of, now you're playing this position in which you need to do both. It was kind of just him out there playing and looking to get his, but if the defense collapsed, some of that, let me kick it out to the open guy, rather than, okay, I am now the sole initiator, and running sets without LeBron or whatever, right? I need to go get my buckets. I need to go get my points, but I also need to make sure that, Rui's eating and Hayes is eating and AD is eating and D'Lo and everybody, right? Like, there is, and we've seen even with some of the greatest point guards in history have that transition period where they have to figure out that balance of scoring as well as playmaking. And that will come depending on the role, right? Like, so if they are looking like the Lakers have him solely just like, hey, we're going to start you at the 2, you're going to play next to D'Lo, blah, 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 but for 20 minutes a game or 15 minutes a game, you are the point guard, right? Like, we're not having, like, D'Lo's, even if D'Lo's in the game, he's playing off the ball as a scorer. Your job is to be the point guard, right? If it's one of those things, then that's where I think there may be that figuring it out period, right? But if it's just kind of like what it was in the playoffs, where it's like, hey, go out there, play your game, go look for yours, but, try to get some others, allow some other people to eat as well type thing, then I think he'll be fine. I don't think that there will be that. And look, there very well might not be any transition period, right? There might not be nothing in that regard. He might just be able to step in that role immediately and, like I said, be a 25-5 guy, right? Like, and that's perfect. But we have to put things in perspective and have a real understanding of what to expect. This is also year 3 for Austin Reaves. And again, with all of that hype, all of that attention, all of the media drivenness, right? All of that comes with that desire and need to have to be great. Not only from, fans in the media, but from him himself, right? He's going to want to prove and want to show and want to deliver for the Lakers and for the world. And is there that wall? Again, I everything we have seen is him being him, right? Like, him being the guy that the hype is driven to, right? Even Team USA, the guy's averaging like 11, 12 points per game. right? And he's dishing out assists. He's averaging like 3 or 4 assists per game. Like, the guy has basically been, a 10-4-4 guy for Team USA. And some people might be thinking, like, oh, like 10-4-4, that's nothing. Like, that is huge for FIBA basketball, right? Because you got different rules, you got a different court in many ways, you got different everything, and he's not the starting point guard. He's the guy coming off the bench, right? Like, and he's still delivering on that level because he is so efficient. And that's what makes him so great. That's why he's living up to the hype, because he's not only an all-around player, but he's extremely efficient. And if he can maintain that consistency, maintain that efficiency, and kind of take it up a notch for the Lakers, which I do believe he will, then watch out. But overall, I definitely think that there is a level of pressure. And you can make an argument that there's more pressure on Reaves than anybody, right? Just because of the hype and the media that's around him. But ultimately, I think he'll be fine. Everything we have seen, he's not afraid of the moment. He's not afraid of the pressure. He's not afraid to do what is needed of him. But we even saw like a small glimpse of that in the playoffs, right? He had that, what was it, like 3-game stretch or whatever, where he was pretty rough, right? He wasn't like terrible or unplayable or anything like that, but his shot wasn't falling. He was just making mistakes, kind of looked like he was getting his own head a little bit, right? And you saw that switch kind of flip for a lot of people. Like, oh, did Reaves finally hit that wall, come crashing down, and then immediately snapped out of it, and he was, again, arguably the best player for the Lakers, right? So, I do think that, but as we see, when people put you on this pedestal, they're just waiting for an excuse and a reason to tear you down. So, just something to keep in mind. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. How do you feel? What do you think? Do you agree? Do you think that there's some pressure on Reaves? Do you think he'll be fine? Do you think, like, no, like, we got to kind of wait and see? What do you think his stat line will be or whatnot? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the